LA Basin. It's totally ridiculous, and we got to stand up, like it said in our minutes, enough is enough. So, you know, I think we need to change the therefore, that we're just opposed to it, period. If we don't take a strong position, then it's like, well, yeah, we'll give an extra year to abide by these rules. Well, where would that put us a year on later down the road? No place. And then there's the issue of how about out-of-state trucks, whatnot, working inside and outside of California, you know, and taking all of our jobs and everything, but they don't have to go by the rules under the Interstate Commerce Code. So there's all kinds of problems with this. But if we don't take a strong stand and be opposed to this, then I think we're making a big mistake and we're not serving our people in this county well.
Thank you, Supervisor. Before I go to the public, I have a comment that I've recently learned, having heard you just refer to the wildfires we had this summer. I spoke to it in Mr. Kaler's resolution. Not a single piece of hired equipment that was hired to augment the firefighting resources in this county would meet this new regulation. Every single piece, from water trucks to dozer transportation to the dozers to actually some of the out-of-state fire engines, not a single piece would meet this regulation and would not be available to us to suppress future wildfires. And so that's statewide, not just here. While we also heard there's 825,000 diesel transport trucks in this state, 80% would not meet this new regulation and would be off of the road in the year 2010. So while good intended, it has dramatic economic impacts, and that's what we spoke to of enough is enough. So I'll end my comment with that and then ask for a public comment on this issue. And it looks like we're going to be headed towards a rewrite of this resolution. So at this point, I'll ask for public comment. Please step forward to the podium if you have any comment on this ARB issue, and state your name for the record, and try and keep your comments to 3 minutes if possible.
Hi, my name is Jerry Philbrick, and first I want to thank Mr. Pinches for taking the lead on this situation. It's very critical. If they are allowed to impose these situations on the diesel vehicles in our county alone, we're doing a little study, and we're not near done with it yet. But in my own business, you know, we have 27 diesel pieces of equipment that operate in the timber industry and also building roads and stuff, and every one of these will not make it, will not pass the retrofit requirements. And I think on another scale, there's a study being made right now that in Mendocino County alone, there's 33,000 privately owned diesel vehicles that will not meet the criteria. And in my own situation, I have 55 employees, and if this thing goes through, I'm going to be put out of business, and my 55 employees' families will be out of jobs. So the board has got the ball in their hands here, and I think Mr. Pinches is really showing some initiative and saying, you know, this is not a good deal. Let's not prolong it. Another little issue I'd like to bring up is when you mentioned fires a while ago. CAL FIRE has got this new agenda out where if you don't meet their requirements on how to fight a fire, you can't fight a fire. Well, recently we had these lightning strikes over in the Comchi area, and there was like 11 out-of-control fires burning in all directions. And I myself had four pieces of equipment on hand. Oscar Smith had one, George Hollister had one, Richard Wells, and I could name Shandell Brothers. There was like 17 pieces of firefighting equipment available there in the Comchi area, and we could not approach the fire because we weren't qualified by CAL FIRE. And I had to go to a meeting to tell them, and I was a little bit out of control when I said it, that if one of my neighbors gets threatened by a wildfire, I'm going to go there and fight it, and you can stick whatever rules you got, you know where. And that's how we left it. It was almost, we were that far from the civilian takeover, because this is ridiculous what some of these state laws are. When a person's livelihood's in danger, or their property or animals, you know, when we had fires years ago, it was the loggers who put them out. The loggers. That's who they called on, because we know how to fight fire. and we have good equipment. And this guy, there was a fire out here at Montgomery Woods, believe it or not, and they brought a guy clear from Santa Cruz with a water truck and a low bed, and he got jackknifed out here on one of those turns where you can see your own brake lights, and there he was. Tore his transmission out, had the road blocked, and we were 2 miles from the fire with all that equipment. So the board, you need to take a look at that too. I don't know what kind of leverage you can put on CAL FIRE to get this kind of turned around, but if we have another national emergency like that, you're going to see a civilian takeover in our area because we're going to go fight the fire. But thank you very much for addressing this program about the particulate matters, because it's going to devastate this county. I think the county's in pretty bad shape financially anyway. This is going to bring it clear to its knees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Philbrick. Other members of the public wishing to speak to this item in relation to resolution of the ARB? Supervisor?
Just a final
Pinches.
comment that, you know, I talked to a lot of people about this, and I've said this before, but everybody's comment is, well, that's so ridiculous, the state can't do that. And I think that's basically the mood out there, why this boardroom isn't packed on this issue. Maybe we haven't advertised it big enough, but that's our job to fight the state on this. But that's what everybody I talk to says, well, that is so far out and